So what if the secret to winning was actually knowing when to quit? Yeah, I know. We're told our whole lives to never give up. But today, we're diving into a pretty radical idea, that quitting isn't failure. In fact, it might just be one of the most powerful, strategic tools you have.
This quote from Coach Becca Syme just cuts right through all that noise. The point isn't to give up on your dreams. It's about quitting the things that are actively holding you back. The stuff that's just not working, so you can finally make space for what will.
Okay, so first things first, let's completely tear down and rebuild what quitting even means. We're going to deconstruct this massive stigma that's been built around this word for pretty much our entire lives.
This slide really shows the huge shift in perspective we're talking about. On the left, you've got giving up. It just feels heavy, right? It feels like failure, weakness, defeat. But look at the right side, leaving behind. Now, that's not about being defeated. It's a strategic call. It's deciding to leave a project or a habit or a mindset that just doesn't serve you anymore. It's about acknowledging, hey, you know what? I've just taken on way too much.
But that leads to the big question. Why do we get so stuck holding on to things that clearly aren't working? Well, a lot of the time, it's because we're following someone else's advice. And that leads us straight into a huge psychological hurdle, what we call the certainty trap.
Here it is, the heart of the problem, a concept from Becca Syme. Our brains have this, it's like a faulty shortcut. When someone speaks with incredible confidence, with super high certainty, our biology just automatically assumes they must be right. We literally confuse the delivery of the information with the accuracy of the information.
And this visual just lays out that disconnect perfectly. Certainty is all about how confident someone sounds. Correctness is about how right they actually are. And here's the key thing to burn into your memory. You can be 100% certain and be 100% dead wrong. At the same time, your own quiet little intuition, that little uncertain voice inside, it can be totally 100% correct. We abandon our own right answers all the time just because someone else's wrong answer was louder.
This is such a fantastic way to think about how we misapply data. Just imagine someone comes up to you and says with total confidence, hey, 90% of babies named Daniel have brown hair, so you absolutely should name your brown-haired baby Daniel. It sounds completely ridiculous, right? You know that's not how it works. But then an influencer says 90% of successful people are on TikTok, so you must be on TikTok, and suddenly we're falling for it. We're taking a descriptive fact and treating it like a prescription for our own lives, totally ignoring all the important context.
So, if we can't always trust that super confident advice from the outside, how do we make better decisions for ourselves? Well, let's meet our internal decision-making team. This is a great framework from author Bradley Charbonneau.
So, think of your brain as a little committee of three. First up, you've got Martijn, the mind. She's the analyst, loves data, logic, spreadsheets, all the rules. Then you have Henri, the heart. He's the empath, always worried about feelings and how your choices will affect other people. And finally, you've got Geau, the gut. Geau is the activator, the one screaming, let's go, and just running on pure instinct. Now, here's the really crucial question for you. Who's running the show on your team? Is it Martijn, who's always demanding more data and getting stuck in analysis paralysis? Or is it Henri, who's so worried about everyone else's feelings he can't make a choice? Or is it Geau, who's already bought the plane tickets before checking if he needs a passport? See, a good decision needs all three of them to have a voice. It's when one of them takes over that we get into real trouble.
And this whole idea of an internal team, it leads us directly to the single most important part of strategic quitting. You have to have deep self-awareness. You've got to know your own wiring to know which voice on your team tends to shout the loudest.
Things like the Clifton Strengths Assessment show us that our greatest talents are totally instinctive. They feel like common sense to us, but trust me, they are not common sense to everyone else. Understanding your dominant traits, like if you're a high activator, which is basically that gut-driven Geau energy, that's the key to using your gifts instead of letting them run you off a cliff.
Okay, let's just stick with this Activator Strength because it is a perfect example. Every single strength has two sides to it. The gift, you are absolutely phenomenal at starting things. You create momentum from nothing. But the challenge? Oh boy, you get so bored in the middle and you really struggle to finish. You're the person who might abandon a successful project right when it's taking off just to chase the next shiny thing. Your greatest strength can literally power the city, or it can blow it up. Awareness is the thing that lets you choose. And this all brings us to the most important thing you could possibly quit. It's not a job, it's not a project, it's a mindset. It's the toxic habit of constantly raising the stakes on everything you do.
We do this all the time, don't we? We think every project has to be perfect, every launch has to be a grand slam, and our biology is actually wired for this. It treats the fear of failure like a literal survival threat. We think if our book isn't a bestseller, we're going to die. But we won't. We have to intentionally, actively learn how to lower the stakes.
So how do you actually practice this? Bradley Charbonneau has this brilliant kind of hilarious exercise. Write your worst book ever. The goal is to create something truly epically awful. You have to use silly fonts like Comic Sans. You have to finish it. And by doing this, you're teaching your perfectionist brain a brand new lesson. Finishing something that's imperfect is not dangerous. You actually survive. In fact, you build confidence, and you learn that failing fast is an incredibly powerful tool for growth.
So what's the big takeaway here? Let's bring it all home. Strategic quitting isn't failure. It's not admitting defeat. It's a declaration of focus. It's about clearing the path, getting rid of the bad advice, the misaligned projects, and that crushing perfectionism, so you finally have the energy and the space to go all in on what truly matters.
And that just leaves us with one final question to think about. When you look at your work, your life, your habits, what is the one thing you need to give yourself permission to quit, starting today?